O Show. This is the Big O Show.
This is what needs to be locked down today, okay? We're going to lock down this narrative. We're going to lock it down. We're going to choke it out, and we're going to end it, okay? Same thing that ALennyLocksmith.com does every day for so many people in South Florida, Central Florida, and even in Arizona, all right? They get locked out. He gets them in. Well, we're going to lock this down right now because this is ridiculous. It shows you where we're at with Tua, that people create negative narratives. The latest one is that Tua needs Mike McDaniel in order to succeed. Last time I checked, Brian Flores had a winning record with Tua, not with any of his other QBs. Okay? Not Fitz and not Brissett. Only Tua. All right. And the latest on this narrative that we need to lock down, erase, shut down, over, and Tua will do it with time. Oh, no. They needed to go opposite of Flores for Tua. They needed a positive coach. Really? You call Nick Saban a positive coach? Because I've watched Nick Saban rip everyone and tear them in half. I've seen him rip Tua. I've seen him rip all kinds of players. I've seen him rip all kinds of adults. Hell, he walked over a man that was having a seizure at Dolphins camp. Like, hey, that's not going to mess up my day. I'm just walking right over him and I'm doing my thing. That's Tua's coach. His dad was worse than Saban, apparently. So what's this bullshit now that Tua needs a guy like Mike McDaniel? Look, I'm glad Mike McDaniel's here. Mike McDaniel is needed for a lot of players, not Tua. So let's lock this down now. Let's end this bullshit right here. Tua's had tough coaching his entire life. Brian Flores was an asshole. There's a huge difference between an asshole and a tough coach. Last week, Tua talked about all the coaches that were tough on him. He left out Flo because it wasn't that Flo was tough, is that Flo's an ogre. Flo doesn't know how to communicate with human beings, not just Tua, other players. Mike Gesicki won't tell you, but I can tell you he didn't like him. I can tell you plenty of people in the building don't like him. Oh, I'm sorry. I must have said that all last year. So the bottom line is, stop with this. Tua didn't need Mr. Positive Mike McDaniel. And I like what he's doing because I actually believe that in today's world, these Generation Zs and these millennials, they kind of need a Mike McDaniel. But please don't tell me that Tua needs it. Okay? Tua had Nick Saban as his coach, and he won a national championship and played at the highest level. And Nick Saban has nothing but love for that young man. Because Nick Saban knows that that young man is incredibly tough-minded, that he can handle. His dad gave it to him. Lots of us grew up with tough love. Lots of us can relate to tough love, actually. I'm probably one of those guys that relates to tough love coaches better than I would Mr. Positive. But I'm old school. I have thick skin. That doesn't really faze me. Maybe that's why I was made for radio, too. But this whole narrative, because I've heard it already. Oh, no, that Flo, and no, they needed this for Tua. No, they don't. They needed an offensive mind for Tua. They need somebody that knows how to build a running game, that knows how to build an offensive line that can block and give them time. That's what Tua needs. That's what I'm hoping for from Mike McDaniel. I'm not hoping that Mike McDaniel hurts Tua's feelings. If Saban didn't hurt his feelings, then this guy isn't. But the difference, think about this, how bad Flo is. That Tua can easily handle Saban, loves Saban, and won't even say a damn word about Flo. That's the part you got to look at. A character human being like Tua, who does his best to get along with everybody, actually. That's the guy that can't get along with Flo. And he wasn't the only one. So this narrative that's starting also back there, because it's bullshit narratives that start, as always with Tua, this is the latest one. Oh, no, he needed a guy like, he needed opposite of Flo. No, he didn't. He could have Saban, but Saban knows how to build a staff. Saban knows how to coach. That's the difference. Brian Flores was incompetent. And he had no people skills. So that's a bad thing. When they're telling you that you had to walk in line in there and you had to and people couldn't be themselves and they had to walk on eggshells in that building. That's all you need to know. When Brian Flores is getting a PR person fired, that's all you need to know how petty of a human being he is. So Tua did not need a nicer coach. He did not need Mr. Positive or any of that. He needed a guy that knows offense. That's why Mike McDaniel's here. Not because he's the polar opposite of Brian Flores. That is how you lock it down.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.